We've got Brian T. City Ortega finally getting his ass back in the cage, taking on the Korean zombie, Chan Sung Jung. There are storylines, there is bad blood. This fight has got absolutely everything. And I think the first thing we got to get out of the way is, dude, how the hell is Park in the corner of Brian Ortega? Did you hear about that?
What?
The dude he slapped. The
Yeah.
translator for Chan Sung Jung, who Brian Ortega slapped, the one who started this whole beef in the first place, apparently is cornering Brian Ortega.
This is the first I'm hearing about that. I know that Henry Gracie's not going to be able to be in his corner because he tested positive for
Yeah,
COVID or something, but I didn't know that he was bringing in Park as the next guy. What the hell?
no idea. How does
Okay.
that even happen?
It's a work, Clint. It's a work.
It's a work. Whole reason this fight is happening is because of the beef involving Park, and now he's flipping sides on us. I have no idea what to make of that. So we have got a decent sized favorite here. Chan Sung Jung is minus 180 to come back on Brian Ortega. He's about plus 160, plus 155, depending on where you're shopping. And man, this is another one that for me is such a difficult fight because we don't know anything about Brian Ortega in the year of our Lord 2020. He's been out since he took the ass beating from Max Holloway 2 years ago, and you know he's been working. You know what I mean? Like, this is a guy, he's got a stellar ground game. He's athletic. His striking was coming along, but he clipped a guy like Frankie Edgar with a knee, a dude in the wrong weight class, a dude at the end of his career. He clips that guy with a knee in round one, knocks him out. That was spectacular, but I feel like that was one in a million. I don't expect him to be able to come out and hang with Chan Sung Jung, but can he even grapple with Chan Sung Jung? Is Chan Sung Jung gonna let this thing get to the mat? Dude's got 77% takedown defense rating. He's huge for the weight class. He's gonna have a 3 or 4 inch reach advantage. I mean, I'm all team Zombie here. He's been the more active guy more recently. And if Ortega can't get this fight to the mat, I expect it to be dominance on the feet. But again, we've just got that question mark of what has Ortega been doing for 2 years? Maybe he's the best boxer we've ever seen after 2 years off. Man, talk to me. What do you feel like on this one?
One thing I can guarantee though is he's not going to come back looking like Piotr Jan. Let's throw that out there. He's not going to accrue that much skill and experience and striking and just hitting pads and stuff to come back and look that good. I think that flaw in his game is always going to be there. I'm trying to think of anybody who has a jiu-jitsu dominant game that's come back and looked really good and they're striking. I know there's one. I just can't remember off the top of my head, but I don't think Brian Ortega fits that. I think he's still going to go for those submission, try to get the game into the jiu-jitsu realm. And he's not like a takedown type of guy. He's more of a I'd rather pull guard and possibly take hammers from the top and then try to pull up a submission. Exactly. He's not looking for takedowns. He's looking to pull guard pretty much. If he gets you in a clinch position, he's going for a flying armbar, flying triangle, whatever the hell it is. I just find that hard to believe that he's going to be able to go out there and do that to Chan Sung Jung. Chan Sung Jung has looked amazing over his last little stretch. The guy is just going out there and starching dudes. I remember going into the Hanato Moicano fight. People are like, there's no way he's going to go out there and outstrike Moicano. What does he do? He knocks him out. You know what I mean? There's this small things that Chan Sung Jung does that just puts him apart from everybody else. Not to mention his durability and his ability to take punishment. Not like he's going to be taking many strikes from Brian Ortega here to to endure that type of punishment. But what I would like to see from Ortega is just settle into the fact that this is going to be a striking fight. And then at some point, just try to take this fight to the ground. At some point, just try to throw Chan Sung Jung off. I just find it hard to believe that he'll be able to do that because I think the skill discrepancy when it comes to the striking is just so far apart. Chan Sung Jung does a good job of keeping distance. His power seems to be growing every single fight, so I think that's nothing but bad things for Brian Ortega here. I was at the last Brian Ortega fight against Max Holloway, and I pulled a Clint. I hit a round 4, I believe it was round 4, round 5 prop for my man Max Holloway. That was nice. It just seemed like a no-brainer for me because we know that Max Holloway's game is step your level up every single round, turn it up, and there's no way that Brian Ortega was going to be able to keep up with that striking. So Tough fight for Ortega to come back to. Props to him for even accepting this fight after such a long layoff. But again, there's a lot of upside for him. It's almost a win-win for him, unless he goes out there and just gets completely demolished in the first minute. Like if he's able to make it competitive for 2.5, 3 rounds or something like that, and then gets finished by Chan Sung Jung, at least people can be like, all right, he's somewhat hung with Korean Zombie. But I don't think he's going to hang with him. I think Korean Zombie goes out there and just completely just smashes him. I think he just completely messes him up in the feet. Maybe a second or third round finish. I wanted to look at the over under. It's currently at 2.5. I was hoping for like 4.5, to be honest. That's just me being generous. But the 2.5 makes it a little bit sketchy for me. I mean, like 12.5 minutes. I don't know if that's enough time for Chan Sung Jung to really like batter Ortega enough. He's not gonna. I don't know if he's gonna be able to like one punch knock him out. But I think it's like an accumulation of strikes. Like one thing we know Brian Ortega has is heart and durability. So it's not gonna be one punch that takes him out. Chan Sung Jung's gonna have to stick to his game plan, keep the distance. And hope that Brian Ortega doesn't pull off a flying armbar or something, because I think that's the only way for him to win. So if you are wanting to bet Brian Ortega, bet him inside the distance, because there's no way this man is winning a decision here. So I like Zombie. I think he continues to roll. I see a little bit of buyback coming, and the Zombie price getting slightly better. But even at minus 175, I think he's a solid spot if you want to parlay him or even play him straight if you don't mind the chalk. This is a Zombie fight for sure.
I'm right there with you, man. I do think that this is a Zombie spot. So it's funny. I'm taking outside information here. There's a podcast that I listen to where we've got like a behind the scenes, like a sports book guy who sometimes relays the sharp action that he gets on like NFL games and college football games and stuff like that. On this week's episode, he said that his sharpest UFC bettor has taken a piece of Brian Ortega at plus 160, which that set off a little alarm bell that I'm like, is that some inside information? Is there something we don't know there? I don't know. That was just something that had me questioning a little bit. I don't know. I don't read a whole lot into that, but I was surprised because I'm seeing nothing but zombie, 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 zombie. And then the sharp guy out of left field comes in, Ortega. And we saw that line dip for a minute that I was like, I'm going to go ahead and give a little nugget away. Like I said, tune in for Total Madness a little bit later in the week. I'll go over the totals. I have a solid record. I need to go back and actually like accumulate the record, but I have a lot of success with the overs in the main events, man. And I'm looking over 2.5 here. If they give me a decent price on the over 2.5, we've got Chan Sung Jung, who has just gone to war with some people. I mean, he had that fight of the year with Yair Rodriguez, one of the sickest knockouts we have ever seen. He went to war with Jose Aldo, Dustin Poirier, and we have seen, like you said, Brian Ortega is not chinny. He got roughed up by Max until round 4, and it was a doctor stoppage TKO. This guy's never lost by knockout besides that. He's taken 2 years off, so any questions about his durability or his chin are just right out the window. He's going to be recovered and ready to go for this. Unless Ortega does Silva got caught by that flying heel hook back in the day. Unless he comes out and does some kind of crazy, roll, catches a heel, catches an ankle, and ends this thing in round 1. I think he's durable enough to take some punishment from the Zombie. I think he's durable enough to take some shots. And if they get into any grappling and scrambles, I think Chan Sung Jung is solid enough to avoid the submissions and get back to his feet. And this thing will inch its way over that 2.5. And that's probably the way that I'm looking here, because I think I'll get a better price tag on the over 2.5 than I will just laying that kind of chalk on Chan Sung Jung. And Ortega is the kind of fighter that I really don't like parlaying against. He's that guy that could snap up a neck at any point in this fight, given just the barest, minimalist opportunity. So if it gets over 2.5 at that point, I don't care who wins. I feel like that's a half decent spot to take a look for this main event.
That's a solid spot. Like I said, I was looking for the under 4.5, but over 2.5 is a solid spot as well, because I do believe in the durability of Ortega in all of his fights, even before the Max Holloway fight. Obviously, he was undefeated going into that fight, but like he was taking damage from these dudes, was not going out, nothing like that, and then just snatches victory from like the jaws of defeat. He's good at doing that, but I don't think he's going to be able to do that against Korean Zombie. I think he's just going to take a beating over 2.5 rounds, maybe 3 rounds. Plus 115 is what it's currently at. Not that bad of a line for the over 2.5, if I'm honest. But I do believe you're right. I do believe that we'll see some action on the under 2.5 because I think people are like really buying into the knockout power of Chan Sung Jung. They're probably going to hammer that, and we'll probably get a better price on the over 2.5.
They saw what he did to Frankie Edgar, man.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
let's
exactly.
be real there. Frankie Edgar is a 40-year-old man who is dropping a weight class because he can't hang with these big boys, instead of a prime Brian Ortega, who is nothing but durable. It's just a totally different situation. Zombie's got the power. He can knock him out. It could happen. But I don't
all
know
of
if it
his
happens
wins.
that fast.
Sorry, his last 2 wins all in the first round. I mean, outside of that Yair Rodriguez fight, he does Dennis Bermudez. He does Hanato Moicano. He does Frankie Edgar. I'd say none of those guys have the durability of Brian Ortega, if I'm being honest. Even Yair Rodriguez. Why didn't he go out there and dust Yair Rodriguez if his punching power is so great? You know what I mean? So I like Korean Zombie here. I do think he gets it done late. That over 2.5 is a nice spot, a good spot there. And yeah, I love me some Zombie here.
You know, man, one thing I might do on this one, I don't have a lot of action on this card. So far, I've only got 2 bets locked in. I'm interested in a couple of totals. I think totals might be better than sides on this particular card. And I'm going to be very, very interested in playing some of those. But something I haven't done in a long, long time is I might end up doing some alternate totals on this main event. I might play all the overs. I might go over 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5. And basically, if you're getting plus money on the over 2.5, you're paying a little bit of juice for that over 1.5. The 1.5 should hit. The 2.5 should hit. And then at 3.5 and 4.5, you're looking at some decent dog odds. And again, you're just praying this fight keeps on rolling, right? That might be a spot that maybe I play that way and look for a sweat and try and get some extra juice on those alternate lines to see if maybe this thing can squeeze its way to the distance.
Sorry, I just wanted to actually touch on one thing that we skipped on for the co-main event. The over 1.5 there is plus 100. I think that's a solid spot as well, considering that Gon isn't really like a knockout one punch power type of guy. Yeah, I mean, he's a pick you apart type of guy from distance. And we know Anti's, path to victory here is trying to grapple him and extend this fight as late as possible. So if you give me 7.5 minutes, plus 100 is freaking great.
Dude, that's a great spot. I can't believe I missed that. I didn't even look at that. But yeah, man, Ante is going to be, he's going to be trying to establish the wrestling top position. I don't think he can ground and pound Cyril out, not in 1 minute. You know what I mean? Or, sorry, not in one round. Yeah, I think the over 1.5. Dude, those heavyweight over 1.5s are so sexy. Like, people always think big boys knock out at any time. We're going under. It's like, no, man, they squeak over all the time.
Look at the styles, guys. Look at the styles.
Yeah, I like that. Good call, man. Hey,